happen, which is not what we're seeing right now. So you can see there, full trend in motion. We're starting to create a new strong base of support over here. If you look at Bitcoin on the 5-day time frame, we still have 1 day and 17 hours left to close these candles. And for the time being, it's in a full-on bullish posture, right? What does that look like? Well, if we take the price away, a full-on bullish posture would be where price is holding above the short, the medium, and the high time frame moving average. And all of those are angled towards the upside. And it gets more and more bullish as they spread apart, right? So as the yellow starts to move away from the green and price starts to spread, that's where you get into those very, very, very strong trending moves, which is currently what we're seeing, right? So if Bitcoin could start to close at these levels over here, then we have a new horizontal, which will be the next level of support, right? We can start to move that up. It's a bit too soon to do that. Let's wait for the 5-day close. But if we do close over here, you can expect expansion from that level very, very soon. And then you can see how beautifully it ties in with all the other prior analysis on the high time frames that we're looking at over there. So that's what we're viewing. And on the daily, this is what we're seeing, right? We have a converging consolidation into what's also known as, of course, a bull pennant. So you have a preceding trend which started to move towards the upside. Price action then consolidates into a tight wedge, and later on it has to leave that wedge, right? So it's either going to move to the upside or the downside. If it is the downside, remember the low side target is going to be $58,000, where we expect a major bounce from there. But the preceding trend has been up. Therefore, the probability is much higher that price is going to explode towards the upside like this fractal shows. Now, looking at the RSIs as well, this was from the prior cycle over here. You can see breaking through that downsloping trend line on the RSI, that led to the next price move towards the upside. We're in a very, very similar place right now, and I can show you over here. There's two things to note with the RSI. Number one, right now, live on the show, we're starting to break or see the very etchings of that up or the downsloping trend line breaking, so prices moving through the top side. Watch for the moving average to cross through that downsloping trend line on the daily RSI. If that closes, if you have daily candles that allow for that moving average, which is the yellow one, to close above, well, that confirms a successful breakout. That's point one. Point two, we know that historically, Bitcoin is found in a bull market on the RSI bottoms around that 50 mark. So you can see the double bottom on the RSI over here, and now already the start of the break of that downsloping trend line. So all in all, that's looking good. This should allow for price to break key levels, which here they are. We're on our way there. This is the plan, right? We had the plan since last week. All of you remember, you're in the Discord. As well, for those of you in the Discord, you'd know that we said we're looking at sometime early, well, next week, which is now this week, or over the course of this weekend, which we just had, where we would see price play this out. That's why we went long from down here, right? Just below $60,000 is where we took our long position, and it's starting to play out now. Now, if we can get above $71,400, that should allow the RSI to reclaim key levels moving higher. Currently, we are above the pivot level, meaning that RSI will continue to trend towards the upside, and that will allow for bulls to shift momentum. Now, we'll get into the next bit in just a moment, where I show you why and how we could experience one of the biggest short squeezes we've ever seen, and that allows for that parabolic trend to unfold, right? Which is what we saw also in the prior cycle. So, going back onto the price action chart over here, price is now above the 9 and the 18 exponential moving average on the daily time frame. We also on the low time frames above the 200 EMA, which is on our 1 hour and our 4 hour time frame, which means that really the trend is your friend until the very end, and it's onwards and upwards. A break above this will negate the prior lower high, which we set, meaning that we have higher low, new high. So it's a break of structure, confirmation of the breakout from the bull pennant, and then you'll see the sentiment shift bullish very, very quickly back into the market. But I do also want to bring to your attention and a reminder that later on this week, we do have high impact economic data, which is going to be coming out on Wednesday, which could affect the market. So that could be a scenario for a trap. But on the high time frame, why could we see this massive short squeeze? Well, if you look at this data over here, this is looking at the hedge funds versus the institutional funds, which have been, of course, or the institutions which have been buying up Bitcoin. On the top over here is the asset managers in the blue line, which have been allocating into spot Bitcoin. Now, typically for bull runs, you want to be trading in line with the trend, and you want to be trading in line with what spot or the spot market is doing, right? The spot market being the underlying assets, so those buying the actual Bitcoin. And you can see this has been trending towards the upside. But if you look at the leverage, which is the hedge funds, they've been shorting the market for quite some time, right? They are extremely, extremely underwater. They have literally been shorting the market since June of 2023 all the way to current levels, and they're adding more and more to their short positions. That is an absolutely disaster in the making for these hedge funds. They're going to get completely blown out of the water. Now, many of you out there might think that hedge funds is a fancy word and they're smart and they know exactly what they're doing. But I can tell you that most hedge funds, more than 80% of hedge funds, cannot even outperform the S&P 500. Hedge funds go broke all the time. They blow up their funds all the time. Go and look at the statistics. Go and look at the data. You do not want to be trading in line with the hedge funds. You want to be trading in line with the trend. And it absolutely blows my mind. I don't know where they find these hedge fund managers, but they continue to blow up accounts. So asset managers allocating into institutions, buying up Bitcoin aggressively is moving towards the upside. I'm betting that this is going to blow the hedge funds out of the water, creating a massive short squeeze. They'll have to cover those shorts, right? Remember, they've been underwater since June of 2023. That is a very, very, very long period of time, almost 1 year of underwater positions, which is getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And they keep having to add more to their short positions to keep the position open. Eventually, they're going to have to capitulate. Imagine being short into all-time highs, into price discovery. Ludicrous insanity. Mad. Here you have another data point over here from Zero Hedge. Hedge funds pile into shorts for 4 straight days and 8 consecutive weeks as shorts outpace longs 5-1. So, big short squeeze incoming for the markets, in my personal opinion. Now, we need to tie it in with the low time frames, right? The short time frames, this is the 4-hour time frame. Probably this will be the lowest time frame that I'll look at in a strong trending bull market. Now, what are we seeing over here? First thing that we can note, this is where we went long. Remember, we said this is the most obvious place to go long. Expect the deviation back above the 200 exponential moving average on the 4-hour time frame. We got that. We built our long positions over there. Stop losses are below, and price gravitated onwards and upwards. We have a very clear formed range over here, which is ultimately forming part of the bull pennant or bull flag, right? So we've reclaimed the mid-range. We're now heading towards the top side. Now, if we break and we hold above the top side as per the green trajectory over here, we can make it nice and big for you to see. As per the green trajectory over here, that will signify that Bitcoin is gaining acceptance above the range high on a low time frame. And as a range trader, the way that you trade that, as long as it gains and holds acceptance above that range high level, you want to remain long and strong and continue to long it towards the upside. But if price breaks down and starts to close underneath that level again, well, this is still a possibility, right? If you lose the $73,000 mark, we're always expecting a sweep of that level. It's just the question of what happens following the sweep of that level. Do we sweep and deviate back below, gaining acceptance underneath the range high? At which point, it's probably a profit-taking opportunity, not necessarily a